Hi, I'm Dr. Nicole Deuvall, and I'm the professor of horn here at Washburn University. And I'm so excited to be able to share with you the district and all-state excerpts for this year's audition material. This excerpt comes from Richard Strauss's first horn concerto. Richard Strauss is the son of Franz Strauss, who is a great horn player as well as composer. Because of this, Richard grew up in a family exposed to great music and especially horn. He learned how to write for the horn extraordinarily well. He wrote this concerto when he was only 18 years old and is influenced from the classical as well as the early Romantic periods. This piece is originally designed to be played with solo horn and full orchestra, but is often played today with solo horn and piano. We're going to talk about some tips and tricks along the way, so let's get started. This opening section is bold and heroic. During Richard Strauss's career, he was known to be a little bit arrogant, and this is a great place to put that attitude into his own music. As you can see that I played this a little bit out of time to make it very dramatic, as most professional horn players will. It is important that the dotted rhythm stays snappy though. The most challenging part of this opening lick is that octave jump at the very end of the phrase. I take a little bit of a break between the top and the bottom note to ensure that I can readjust my embouchure, create a larger oral cavity by lowering my jaw to create a wonderful low F. This section showcases a bold heroic line as well as lyrical sweeping material. And the opening, make sure that you're not late off of the ties. You can do this by practicing by taking out the ties using a metronome and then putting the tie back in, ensuring that the metronome stays on and that your time stays the same. It is also important that this section is very loud as it's marked fortissimo, but make sure that you do not play louder than you can with a great sound as well as good intonation. In the lyrical section, we have a tendency to slow down, especially when we play soft and slurred material. This is another great section to make sure you use your metronome to keep the momentum going for this piece. This section is the most technically challenging of the first movement. It is important that it sounds light and airy to the listener. You can do this by ensuring a very steady airstream as well as a light tongue. It is important that you practice a slurred as well as tongued to ensure that very steady airstream. It is also important that those low notes speak correctly, and it might mean that you may need to create a larger oral cavity for those bottom notes than you might be used to. And the arpeggiated section coming down from the upper range, it is important that you hear each and every one of those notes. So practice it very slowly, ensuring great accuracy before speeding it up. When preparing for an audition, it is very important that you practice the art of performance in addition to the audition material. And you can do this by practicing for friends or family, and you can even do this in person or via Zoom. When working on this material, don't forget about your scales as well as your sight reading material. They are both critical elements to this audition. Practice your scales every day and have your random person call a different scale for you every day. In addition, make sure that you're using sight reading material. This can be used by finding an old book, borrowing from a friend, or finding things online such as imslp.org. I've included a link to the horn repertoire on that website so you can look around and find some sight reading material for you. If you have any questions or like an individual lesson, feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to help. Happy practicing!